Hi, this is Umair back with another JavaScript tutorial. I'll be talking about JavaScript with JSON, and I'll be giving you an overview of how to use JSON and how to use JavaScript object in our JavaScript application. Before proceeding further, I just want to let you know that I have created a Facebook group named Programmers. Make sure you join that group. I have given the link of that group in the description of this video. So go ahead and join that group for getting more information and get more knowledge about programming. So let's start. What is JSON? JSON is JavaScript object notation, and that is a way to represent data in the form of key value pairs. It is used to share data among server and client-side devices. Many platforms like mobile, desktop, web can use same structured data. Many different languages like Python, Ruby, JavaScript, and bunch of other languages can parse and use JSON data as an alternative to XML. It is basically derived from JavaScript, and its structure is similar to JavaScript objects except 2-3 basic differences. So let's see what is the structure of JSON. Structure of JSON is defined as a key value pairs. Keys are on the left side and values are on the right side. We can access values with the help of keys. Following is the structure of JSON. You can see that I have started the curly brace and I have added the key, and I am separating the key value pairs with a colon. On the left side, the name is a key and Umair is a value, same as the degree is a key and BSCS is a value. And we can define other objects or other arrays, nested objects in an array, or array inside other array, or array inside other object. Whatever we want depends upon our requirement. So this is the structure of JSON. In order to use JSON, we need to pass that JSON data into our object. There are different techniques for passing JSON data, depends upon what language you are using. So in this tutorial we are using JavaScript. So in JavaScript we can use JSON.parse, and as a parameter we need to pass the data, and this will be the whole data. And in the obj variable we will have all the data that we can access with our keys. So in order to get the roll number from that JSON data, we can write object.roll number. And in order to get first subject, that is an array, so we can use indices. We can write object.subjects and then index number, as we know that array starts from 0. So now what is the difference between JSON and JavaScript object? JSON data is a platform independent, but JavaScript object can only be used in JavaScript itself. Keys of JSON must be in double quotes, whereas keys of JavaScript objects can be without double quotes. Alright, it can be with double quotes or can be without double quotes. JSON values can only contain integers, strings, arrays, object, null, and boolean, whereas JavaScript object keys can also contain functions. We need to pass JSON data before this uses, because we can use JSON in many other languages, but in JavaScript objects we can only use it in JavaScript. We don't need to pass JavaScript object. So now what is the difference? You can see that on the left side I have written JSON, and that is in the double quotes. There is a degree, I have added the key in double quotes, and all the things are I've added in double quotes. On the right side I have JavaScript object. You can see that I haven't added the double quotes on the keys. Alright, so this is the proper structure of JavaScript object, and I have a degree and I have subjects, and at the end I have a function. As I mentioned earlier that we can't have a function in JSON, we can have a function in JavaScript objects. In order to get the name from that JavaScript object, we can define a key, and that can refer to a function, and inside a function I'm returning the name key, and it will return the value of key name. Alright, so I hope that you have got the idea about JSON or JavaScript objects. So before proceeding further for the practical examples of JSON and JavaScript objects, I'll start with the JavaScript objects and use JavaScript objects, different advantages and disadvantages of JavaScript objects. Then I'll come to the JSON. I'll pass JSON with the help of AJAX and JQuery, and use JSON in our real application. So before starting the actual practical examples, I just want to let you know, make sure to subscribe my channel and like this video and comment below if you have any question. Before starting that, I just want to let you know that there are online tools that we can use to verify JSON format. If we have written JSON, right now it is very small, but it can be pretty large. So there are many chances that we make mistakes while writing JSON. We miss any comma, we miss any semi colon or double quotes. So there are some tools. So let me show you one of them. So you can see that I have the jsonlineeditor.org. It is very powerful tool. On the left side, I have added the same JSON that I showed you in this tutorial. So you can see that I have this key and the values against those keys. And you can see that on the right side, I can have open or close any of these key value pairs. All right. So if I have a large JSON data, I can just close and open each of the structure inside that JSON file. It's also going to show me an error if I miss something. Let's remove a semicolon from here, and you can see that it's showing me an error. If I run it, it will show me the more details of this JSON data. So it's asking me that there is a parse error on line number 4. All right, so parsing error means there must be some comma right here. So if I run it like this, you can see that it has shown me the more visual representation of this JSON file. The 0, 1, 2 is showing me the indices of this array and the name, degree, and roll number. So I hope that you have got the idea of it. Now let's start working with JavaScript object first. Now you can see that I have this script file and I have this index file. Inside index file, I have added a link to that script file. In this script file, I have a variable a with a value hello world, and I have a variable student contains the whole JSON object. It's a JavaScript object and JSON. We can call it both because we have created in our script file on the front end side. It only matters if you want to store any data on the server side, that then the keys must be in double quotes. But if we are creating a JavaScript object or JSON, it doesn't matter if you add double quotes or not. All right, so now whatever we will do in this tutorial while manipulating and getting the data from the objects or JSON, it's pretty much same. The functions are pretty much same while accessing the values, while manipulating the values, accessing the values of arrays. So now what I'll do is I will run this out. All right, and I'll press F12, a debugger mod. If you want to check out how to debug JavaScript, if you all don't know already, then you can check out my other video. I have made a tutorial on essential training of JavaScript debugging, and I have given the link of that video in the description below. Check out that video if you want to learn JavaScript debugging. So what I'll do now, I have run this project and it has executed all the code that is written right here. And if I want to check that it has actually executed all the code, I can write a, and you can see that it has given me the value of a. And if I write student, you can see that it has given me all the values inside object student. All right, but there is a difference. You can see that in this file I have created the name first, roll number, degree. All right, but it has presented me degree first, name second, roll number third, because it is showing me all the data and it is sorting the data in ascending order starting from D, N, R. All right, so now what I will do, in order to get the value, I will write student dot, and it will give me all the properties inside this object. So if I want to get name, so you can see that I can access name with the object. So if I want to get subjects dot subjects, and it's going to give me the whole array containing all the values with the indices that it belongs to 0 index, it belongs to second, and it belongs to third. Alright, and if I want to add a new property inside this object, it will not affect my actual code, but it will just show up right here to make sure that if it actually works or not. So what I'll do, I will add a student dot, and I will name the new key of that new property. So I will write phone and equals to, and I will add random phone number. Alright, so you can see that it has added this. Now if I write student, you can see that it has added a new property inside object with the key phone and a value that I have just entered. Alright, and if I want to change any of the value of any property, I can do that as well. If I want to change degree, I will write student dot degree equals to BSSE. Alright, and I will press enter. Student. Alright, so I just misspelled the student. It has to be EN. Alright, so I'll press enter. So you can see if I write student and if I open it up, you will see that it has changed the degree, the value of degree, to BSSE. It stands for Bachelor of Sciences in Software Engineering. Alright, so now let's clean it by clicking on this icon. Now what if we want to delete any particular value? Let me first bring up all the values. And what if I want to delete this phone number? I can write delete. There are a bunch of functions that you can check out in the console. As you can see that if I write return D, you can see that there are a bunch of functions right here. Alright, so I will write delete. Inside the brackets, I will write student dot degree. Alright, and I'll press enter. It has returned me true. It's showing me that it has deleted the degree properly. So if I enter student, you can see that it has no degree property inside it. Alright, so now let me delete any of the value of array. Alright, actually I'm doing all this in this console window. We can also access these values on the actual code, but I want to show you that how to work with objects and JSON files. That's why I'm doing it in the console window. It's really good practice to start learning things in the developer console where the JavaScript actually processed. Alright, so now if I want to delete student dot subjects, and I'm giving an index. Alright, so I'll press enter. It has returned me true. Now let's write student, and if I open it up, you can see that there are only two values, but there is a problem. You can see that it's showing me the length 3 but showing me two values 1 and 2, and it's not showing me the 0th index. For working with arrays, the delete function doesn't work pretty well. We need to use some other way to delete the values of indices of array. So in JavaScript, we have another function called splice. We can use that. So for deleting that, I will write student dot subjects dot splice, and I will write 1. Let me write 0 and then 1. Alright, I'll press enter. Actually it's showing me 0 because we don't have 0th index right here. Alright, so that's why it's showing me. Let's click on it and press up arrow key. I will write 1th index and I will press enter. You can see that it has given me computer vision. Alright, now if I write student, actually whole student, and you can see if I open it up, you can see that it has given me programming fundamentals and it is giving me length 1. So it's giving me the exact value that is being shown inside this array. So this is how we can delete any particular value from an array. Alright, Another thing that I want to show you is that the JavaScript is processed inside the browser, so we can also debug JavaScript code. Like if I open up let me reload it again, and you can see that it has given me this script. And if I like a debug point, if you don't know how to debug JavaScript, just check out my other video. I've added a debug point right here, and it's gonna stop right here. Okay, and if I reload it again, you can see that we have stopped the execution right here. Now if I go to console window, if I press A, it has given me the value because it has processed this value A before stopping the execution at this point at line number 3. Now if I want to write student, you can see it has given me undefined because student haven't been executed yet. Alright, if I want to get a student, it has to be executed. So this is a nice way to check out that any variable has been executed properly or not. We can check out by entering that variable. So this is how it really works. Alright, so I hope that you have got the idea. Now let's go and add few more things inside it. Now what I want to do is I want to add a new key with the projects. Alright, and I'm gonna add an array, and inside this array I'm gonna add other objects. In my subjects I added values but didn't add key value pairs. Now I want to add objects having key value pairs. Alright, I'm not gonna add a double quotes because I want to keep it as JavaScript object. So I want to write AI, this is the key, and I want to give it robotic car. Okay, and another object, I want to add image processing. I'm gonna give it a key, and a value is face detector. Alright, so you can see that I have created a new key. Now if I go to my console window, let's reload this page again. Alright, and go to console window. Now if I want to write projects, it has given me that projects is not defined. I'm gonna reload it again. Alright, and check out in the source window whether it's exists there or not. So there is a project, I need to get it with the student property. So students.project, you can see that has given me objects, and object have 0th index with AI key value pairs. Now if I want to iterate through all the values inside this object, let me write a loop right here, and I want to write var I equals to 0, I less than equals to student dot projects dot length I plus plus. So I'm iterating through all the values inside project key. Now inside this loop I'm gonna iterate through key value pairs. Okay, there can be more than key value pairs, so that's why I need to add up another loop. Right now we have only one key value pair, so this doesn't matter, but it's a good practice to always think for a future. So I'm gonna write key in student dot projects, and I'm gonna give it an index because this is an array. Alright, so inside this bracket I'm gonna log these values, I'm gonna log the keys. Alright, so what it will do is it's gonna print me the values of these keys inside the console window, because it is used to detect if anything is being printed pretty fine or not. So now let's go and reload it. You can see that it has printed AI image processing, plus it is giving me all other properties as well, projects. Alright, so this is how we can work with objects. It's pretty much same. You can see that I have added the double quotes around the keys, I have added nothing around these things. So it's a mixture of JavaScript objects and JSON file, because we are not fetching the JSON data from the servers, so it works without double quotes or with double quotes. So I hope that you have got the idea. Next we will use AJAX and JQuery to work with actual JSON file, and we'll use that JSON file in our application. So Let's go and do that. So now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna pass this JSON file inside this div element with the help of AJAX and JQuery. You can see that I have created this pretty easy JSON file without assigning it to any variable, because in order to assign it to a variable I needed to create a JS file. So I've created a JSON file so that we may store it to the server online, because to store online on the server we don't need to assign anything on that variable. Okay, so now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go to this index file, and what I have done right here, I have a script file, I have an index file, and I have an employees.json file. Okay, and I have given the link and reference to our script file, and I have added a reference to the online jQuery files, because I want to use jQuery and show you that how to fetch and pass JSON data with the help of jQuery. And after that I have created two divs, employees1, employees2. These are the IDs, and I'm gonna fetch the JSON data, and I'm gonna uh, populate the data with the help of AJAX in this div. Alright, and I'm gonna fetch the data with the help of jQuery and populate the data inside this div with the ID employees2. So first let's go and pass the data right here, this data, inside this div that has an ID employees1. So let's go to script. So for there are 4 steps in AJAX that we can follow to fetch the data with the help of AJAX. So first we have an object of XML HTTP request. So I'm gonna create an object of XML HTTP request. Now I'm gonna give the link, the URL for my JSON file. Alright, and that has to be a GET request, and in here I'm gonna give the URL, the path of my JSON file. Right now I have a JSON file within the same project locally in my system, but this file can be on the server, on any website. In case we have a JSON file on a website, we need to give a full URL inside these codes. Alright, but we have the JSON file right here, so I'm gonna write employees.json. So we have created an object of XML HTTP request, and I have opened the JSON file. Now I need to check if we are ready to actually pass that JSON file. We can do that by with a function inside XML HTTP request that is on ready state, and it has a function, and inside that function I'm gonna check if we are ready to fetch the data, and if the status is success status, we can check the success status with 200. Okay, so I'm gonna write if xhr.ready state equals to 4 and xhr.status equals to 200. Alright, and inside it I'm gonna create a variable employees1, and I'm gonna pass that JSON file. Alright, so I'm gonna use the same variable, and I'm gonna write response text. Alright, so I have passed the JSON data and stored that data inside employees1. Now I'm gonna fill this data inside this div, alright, in the form of list. So I'm gonna create UL elements, and inside a UL element I'm gonna create all the list elements of the number of items we have right here in this JSON file. So I'm gonna create a UL element first. So I'm gonna write HTML1 equals to UL. Alright, and after that I'm gonna add a loop to iterate through all the objects in the JSON file. So I is less than employees1 dot length and I plus plus. Alright, inside that loop I'm gonna write HTML1 plus equals, and I'm gonna create li tag. Alright, and I'm gonna concatenate it with employees1 with the index dot name. Alright, this is the property that we have in individual object of our JSON file. Alright, and I'm gonna concatenate it again with a closing li tag. Alright, and after the loop I'm gonna close the UL tag, okay, that I created right here. Alright, so now I hope that it will work, but now we need to add this data inside the inner HTML of our div. Alright, so we need to first select this div with the help of ID, and I'm gonna add that data in the inner HTML of that div. So let's go, and I'm gonna use JavaScript. So document.get element by ID. So I'm gonna write the name of that ID implies one. I'm gonna copy it and paste it right here. Dot inner HTML equals to HTML1. Alright, so after that, the last thing that we need to do is we have set the object, we have opened the JSON file, we have fetched the data and stored the data and showed it in our HTML. The last thing that we need to do, that is so compulsory, we need to send this request. Alright, that shows that we want the data to be actually fetched right now. Okay, so now I'm gonna run it and check it if this works or not. So let's run it. So you can see that employees with AJAX, this is the heading, and I have fetched all the data with the list elements inside that div. So I hope that you have got the idea how to use JSON with the help of AJAX. Alright, there are a bunch of functions. If you want to see more about AJAX, you can check that out on the AJAX website. Alright, I just wanted to give you the overview of JSON with the help of AJAX. Alright, so now next what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna pass this data with the help of jQuery. Alright, so to do that, what I'm gonna do is actually I've already added the jQuery file, so we don't need to add this file. And if you already know jQuery, we know that we can use get, post, or these kind of functions of jQuery to get the data. But I'm gonna use get JSON function of jQuery to pass that JSON data. Okay, so first I'm gonna write $, and first let's not do it. I was just about to set the document ready, but we have set this script right here, so it doesn't matter. Okay, so let's start with the $.getJSON, and I'm gonna write the name of that JSON file, employees.json. Alright, and after that it has a callback function that will return the data inside this data variable. Alright, so let's add a semicolon, and right here I'm going to add the same thing that I did up here. Okay, so I'm gonna copy it and paste it right here. Okay, but I'm not gonna use the for loop, but I'm gonna use the jQuery each function for getting the individual item. Alright, so I'm gonna remove this for loop and I'm gonna write $each, and inside it I'm gonna write that variable that has the data, and I'm gonna write the function, and inside that function I'm gonna add index and individual item. Okay, so after that I'm gonna add the brackets. Actually I'm gonna cut this line and paste it right here. I'm gonna remove it. Okay, so inside it, let's change this variable to HTML2, change it to HTML2, change it to HTML2. Alright, so inside it I'm gonna use the, rather than I'm gonna use this index. Alright, and I'm gonna use this employee. So let's copy it and paste it right here and write .name. Okay, and now I'm gonna change this HTML to HTML2 and change the div to employees2. Okay, so I hope that it should work now. Actually, I haven't used the index. If I wanted to use it, I could use it for some purpose, depends upon the requirement, but it will work because each will automatically uh, iterate through individual object inside this JSON object, okay, one by one. So we don't need to use the index if we want to actually print the data inside our div. So I'm gonna run this file, okay, and you can see that it hasn't shown me anything. I'm gonna inspect it to see what is the error. So I'm gonna go to console. It's showing me that dollar is not defined, okay. So now let's go, and I'm gonna go to script, and what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna write document dot ready, and inside it I'm gonna add a function, and I'm gonna write whole this code inside that thing. All right. The problem was that first let's go and check this out if it actually works right now or not. So now I'm gonna just run it. It didn't work. It's showing me the same error. So where is the problem? All right, we are just adding up this. Okay, so what I will do now is I'm gonna cut these two lines and paste it below. All right, so that our document loads first, and after that we load our jQuery file, and after that we load our script. All right, now let's go and run it. Now you can see that we have fetched the data. The problem was that we were loading the script file before this jQuery file, because the problem occurring that it was executing the whole code without actually knowing that we have the jQuery file to be added in this project. So that was showing me an error that we have not included jQuery project jQuery file, and we are using the jQuery function. So we need to include in fact, if we want to include any library of JavaScript or framework, like we want to use underscore, we want to use Angular, React, we need to import it first before adding the reference to our actual script file. All right, so we have fetched this data. So I hope that you have got the idea how to work with JSON. It's a very important technology right now. Many big companies use JSON for sharing the data among different devices. Like Twitter is giving the API in the form of JSON that we can pass the JSON and get the profile or any data of any user of Twitter accounts. So you can see that how well you should know how to work with JSON. There are a lot to learn right now about JSON. It depends upon your requirement. The purpose of this tutorial was just to give you an overview of how JSON is organized, how to write JSON, how to work with JSON, how to pass the JSON data inside our project. So make sure to subscribe my channel, like this video, and comment below if you have any question. And for more tutorials about mobile application development, game development, make sure to share this video as well with your friends. Thanks for watching this video.